My fiancée whispered at my dad's burial. So, who gets his pension now? We could use the extra money. My relatives heard her. I didn't argue, I just stepped aside and let her keep talking. 3 hours later, when the lawyer arrived for the reading, and she realized what I'd already done, she went completely stiff. I'm Jordan, 32, and I buried my father on a cold Tuesday in November. He'd been sick for 6 months, lung cancer that spread faster than anyone expected. We went from treatable to hospice in 8 weeks. My dad was 67, a retired firefighter who'd spent 30 years running into burning buildings while other people ran out. He deserved better than what he got at the end. My fiancée Claire had been with me for 2 years. We'd been engaged for 6 months, wedding planned for next spring. She was beautiful, successful, the kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into rooms. I thought I was lucky. My dad thought otherwise, but he never said it directly. Just little comments here and there. She asked about the pension yet? He'd joke when she wasn't around. I thought he was being paranoid, protective in that way dying parents get. Turns out he was right. The funeral was small, maybe 40 people. Family, Dad's old firefighter buddies, some neighbors who'd known him for decades. The service was at 10 a.m., burial right after at the cemetery about 15 minutes away. Claire wore black, appropriate, somber. She held my hand during the service, passed me tissues when I cried during the eulogy I'd barely managed to write. At the graveside, we stood in a semicircle around the casket. My mom had died when I was 12, so it was just me. My sister Rachel, my aunt Linda, a few cousins. Claire stood next to me, arm linked through mine. The priest said his final words. They lowered the casket. I threw dirt on it like you're supposed to, heard it hit the wood, felt something crack open in my chest. People started dispersing slowly, heading back to their cars. My aunt Linda was organizing the reception at my dad's house. Food, coffee, a place for people to gather and tell stories. Rachel was talking to one of Dad's old captain about some memory from the 90s. That's when Claire leaned in close, her mouth near my ear, and whispered, "So, who gets his pension now? We could use the extra money." I froze. Literally went still, her arm still linked through mine. She didn't notice my reaction, kept talking, voice still low. I mean, he was getting like $3,000 a month, right? That would really help with the wedding costs. And the honeymoon we could upgrade to that suite in Bali you were worried about affording. My Aunt Linda was standing maybe 6 feet away. She'd turned at the sound of Claire's voice, and from her expression, she'd heard every word. My cousin Mike, just beyond her, had that same frozen look I probably had on my face. Claire was still going. "We should talk to the lawyer this week. Get the paperwork started. I bet there's survivor benefits too, right? For spouses? Well, you're not a spouse, but you're the son, so—" "Claire." My voice came out flat. "What?" She looked up at me. Still didn't register the situation. "My aunt heard you." Claire glanced at Linda, then back at me. "Oh, well, I mean, it's a practical question. Somebody has to think about these things." "At the burial. You're asking about money at my father's burial." "I'm just being realistic, Jordan. Your dad would want you to be taken care of financially. That's what the pension is for." My Aunt Linda walked over. She was a small woman, but she had this presence, especially when she was angry. "Claire, was it?" "Yes, Mrs. You need to leave." "Excuse me?" "You heard me. You need to get in your car and leave, right now." "Jordan, are you hearing this?" Claire looked at me, expecting me to defend her. I didn't say anything. Just stepped aside, physically moved away from her. "Jordan?" Her voice pitched higher now, uncertain. "You should go," I said quietly. "Over one comment? I was just asking a practical question." "At my father's grave, while people are still standing here, while I'm still crying." Rachel had walked over now, drawn by the raised voices. "What's going on?" Claire was asking about Dad's pension. Linda said, voice cold, about how they could use the money for their wedding. Rachel's face went through several expressions: confusion, realization, disgust. Get out. This is insane. Claire looked around at the small group that had gathered. My cousins, a few of Dad's friends, all staring at her with variations of the same horrified expression. You're all overreacting. I didn't mean anything by it. Go, I said. We'll talk later. Fine, but you all need to calm down. Jesus. She stalked off toward the parking area, heels sinking into the cemetery grass with each step. After she left, my aunt hugged me. Didn't say anything, just held on for a minute before letting go. Rachel squeezed my shoulder. We didn't talk about it. Just headed back to Dad's house for the reception. But I couldn't stop thinking about what Claire had said, about the pension, about we could use the money, not you, not this could help you. We like it was already ours, like my father's death was a financial opportunity. Update 1. The reception lasted until about 2 p.m. People ate casseroles and sandwich platters, told stories about my dad, the time he pulled a kid out of a collapsed building, the time he accidentally showed up to a call in his wife's station wagon because his truck was in the shop, the time he won the chili cook-off 3 years running and wouldn't share his recipe. Claire tried calling me 4 times during the reception. I didn't answer. She texted, I'm sorry if I upset people. Call me when you can, not, I'm sorry for what I said, just, if I upset people. Like the problem was everyone else's reaction, not her words. At 3 p.m., my dad's lawyer arrived, Martin Grayson, a man who'd handled my dad's will and estate planning for 15 years. He'd been at the funeral but had stepped out during the reception to give family time. Now he was back, briefcase in hand, ready for the reading. We gathered in Dad's living room, me, Rachel, Aunt Linda, Uncle Tom, a few cousins who were named in the will standard stuff. Dad wasn't rich, but he'd been careful. The house, some savings, the pension. Before we begin, Martin said, pulling out paperwork, I want to note that Jordan and I met last week to make some final adjustments per his father's wishes. Rachel looked at me, surprised. I hadn't mentioned it. What kind of adjustments? She asked. We'll get to that, Martin said. Let's start with the standard provisions. He went through the preliminaries. The house went to me and Rachel jointly. We could sell it and split proceeds, or one could buy the other out. Dad's truck went to his brother Tom. Personal items were to be distributed among family. His savings account, about $40,000, was split between me and Rachel. Then Martin got to the pension. Now, regarding Kenneth's pension, as you know, he received approximately $3,200 monthly as a retired firefighter. Upon his death, survivor benefits would typically continue at 70% to a spouse or to dependent children under certain circumstances. Claire had been right about one thing. There was money there. Not a fortune, but not nothing. Kenneth was concerned about ensuring this money went to the right place. So last week, he, Jordan, and I restructured the beneficiary designation. He looked at me. I nodded. The pension survivor benefits, approximately $2,200 monthly, will go to Jordan for the next 10 years, or until he remarries, whichever comes first at that point, or if Jordan predeceases his sister, the benefits transfer to Rachel. Why did you change it last week? Rachel asked me. Dad asked me to, I said. He had concerns. About what? Before I could answer, the front door opened. Claire walked in, still in her black dress from the funeral. Sorry I'm late. Traffic. She looked around the room at all the silent, staring faces. What did I miss? Martin cleared his throat. We're in the middle of a reading. This is family only. I'm Jordan's fiancée. I'm practically family. Nevertheless, it's fine, I said. She should hear this. Claire sat down next to me on the couch, took my hand. I didn't pull away. Not yet. Martin continued. As I was saying, the pension benefits go to Jordan with specific conditions. Kenneth was very clear about these conditions. He pulled out another document. The benefits are placed in a restricted trust. Jordan receives the monthly payments, but only for expenses related to housing, education, or medical costs. The funds cannot be used for luxury purchases, weddings, honeymoons, or transferred to non-family members. I felt Claire's hand tighten on mine. Additionally, Martin continued, reading directly from the document now, should Jordan become engaged or married, his fiancée or spouse must sign a prenuptial agreement specifically excluding any claim to these pension benefits. The benefits remain Jordan's sole property, untouchable in any divorce proceeding. The room was silent. Claire had gone completely stiff next to me. Why would he? Rachel started, then stopped, understanding dawning on her face. Martin looked directly at Claire now. Kenneth added these provisions 1 week ago, after a conversation with Jordan about concerns regarding his engagement. What concerns? Claire's voice was quiet, controlled, but I could hear the edge. Dad didn't trust you, I said simply. He thought you were with me for money. I told him he was wrong. He asked me to prove it by making these changes. Said, if you really loved me, the pension wouldn't matter. If you didn't, it would show. That's... Claire pulled her hand away from mine. That's manipulative. Is it? Because he's been dead less than 8 hours, and you were already asking how to claim his pension at his burial. I was just asking a practical question. You said we could use the money for Bali for the wedding. You were counting money that came from my dad's death before we'd even finished burying him. I didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? She stood up abruptly. I need to talk to you. Privately. No. Say what you need to say here. These people all heard you at the cemetery. They might as well hear the rest. Claire looked around the room, at my sister's cold expression, my aunt's crossed arms, my cousins' uncomfortable faces. Fine. Yes, I mentioned the pension. Yes, I was thinking about our financial situation. That doesn't make me a gold digger. That makes me practical. At his grave, Claire, you couldn't wait 3 hours. I didn't realize there was a waiting period for discussing practical matters. Your father is dead. That's tragic. But life goes on, and bills don't stop just because someone died. I was trying to help us plan for our future. Our future, I repeated. Tell me something. Did you love my dad at all? Did you care when he died? Or was your first thought really about how much money we could get? She didn't answer right away. That pause said everything. I liked your dad fine, she finally said. But I didn't know him that well. He kept me at a distance. Because he saw what I didn't want to see. Which is what, exactly? That you're with me because I'm stable, because I have a good job and own my condo and don't have debt, not because you actually love me. That's not fair. Isn't it? Name one thing about me that isn't related to money or stability. One reason you love me that has nothing to do with what I can provide. She stared at me. You're putting me on the spot. I'm asking a basic question. I'm not going to sit here and be interrogated by you and your family. This is grief talking. You're not thinking clearly. She grabbed her purse. I'm leaving. Call me when you've calmed down and we can discuss this rationally. She left the door closed behind her. Nobody said anything for a long moment. Finally, Rachel spoke. How long did Dad know? A couple months. He never said anything directly, just kept making jokes about her asking about money. I thought he was being paranoid because of the cancer, because he was worried about leaving me alone. Then last week he asked me point blank if I thought she loved me or loved what I could give her. What did you say? I said I didn't know anymore. So he called Martin, and we made the changes. He said if she really loved me, the trust wouldn't matter. If she didn't, she'd show herself eventually. I looked at my aunt. I didn't think it would be at his funeral. Aunt Linda sat down next to me. Your father was a smart man. I'm sorry he was right about this. Update 2. Claire called me 17 times that night. I didn't answer. Finally, around 11 p.m., she sent a text. We need to talk about the prenup thing. That's not reasonable. You know that's not reasonable. I texted back. We need to talk about you asking about pension money at my dad's burial. You know that's not reasonable. She didn't respond after that. The next morning she showed up at my condo. I'd stayed at Dad's house the night before, helping Rachel start sorting through his things, so I missed her. She left a note under my door. I'm sorry about yesterday. I handled it wrong. But the prenup is a deal breaker. I'm not signing away rights to marital property. That's not what people who love each other do. I called her that afternoon. The pension isn't marital property. It's survivor benefits from my dad's pension. It has nothing to do with you. But you said it's $2,200 a month. For 10 years. That's over $250,000. And that's marital income. If we're married, I have a right to half. No, you don't. It's specifically excluded. That's the whole point of the trust. Which is ridiculous. Your dad set this up to trap you, to control you from beyond the grave. My dad set this up to protect me from exactly what you're doing right now, counting money that isn't yours before I've even agreed to marry you. We're already engaged. Are we? Because right now I'm not sure. Silence on the line. Then, quieter. What does that mean? It means I need time to think about us, about whether my dad was right. Jordan, please, don't let one mistake ruin what we have. One mistake? Claire, you asked about his pension at his grave. Then you showed up at the will reading uninvited. Then you texted me upset about a prenup instead of apologizing for your behavior. These aren't mistakes. This is who you are. That's not fair. You don't know what it's been like trying to fit into your family. They've never liked me. Your dad barely spoke to me at family dinners. Your sister makes comments about my job, my clothes. I've been trying so hard to be accepted, and all I get is judgment. So you thought asking about money at a funeral would help? I thought being practical about our future would show I'm mature and thinking long term. There's a time and place for practical. My father's burial, isn't it? Fine, I get it. I messed up. What do you want me to do? Grovel? Apologize to everyone? I'll do it. Just don't throw away 2 years over this. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm recognizing what was already broken. She started crying. Please. I love you. I know I don't always show it the right way, but I do love you. Then sign the prenup. Show me the trust doesn't matter. I can't. It's the principle. You're asking me to sign away rights. I'm asking you to agree that money from my father's death shouldn't belong to you. That's it. If you can't agree to that, then my dad was right about you. This isn't fair. Life's not fair, Claire. My dad dying at 67 wasn't fair. But here we are. I hung up. Update 3. A week after the funeral, Claire's mother called me. I didn't know she had my number. Jordan, it's Patricia Claire's mom. Can we talk? About what? About what you're doing to my daughter. She's devastated. She hasn't eaten in days. She's crying herself to sleep every night. I'm sorry she's upset, but this is between Claire and me. No, it's between you and some paranoid ideas your father put in your head. He never liked Claire. Everyone could see that. And now he's poisoned you against her from beyond the grave with this ridiculous trust. Mrs. Anderson, did Claire tell you what she said at my dad's funeral? She said she asked a practical question about finances and everyone overreacted. She asked about his pension money while we were standing at his grave, before the burial was even finished. Then she talked about using it for our honeymoon upgrade. Silence. She didn't mention that part, did she? She said she made a comment and you took it the wrong way. Ask her to tell you exactly what she said, word for word, then decide if I'm overreacting. More silence. Then, I'll talk to her. She hung up. 2 days later, Claire sent me a text. Fine, I'll sign the prenup. Can we please move forward? I stared at that text for a long time. Then I called her. I appreciate you agreeing to sign, I said when she answered. But I don't think we should get married. What? Why? I'm doing what you asked. Because you only agreed after a week of fighting about it. Because your first instinct was to fight for money from my dad's death. Because I don't think you love me the way I need to be loved. Jordan, please, I'm trying. I'm signing the prenup. What more do you want? I want a partner who wouldn't have asked about the pension in the first place. I want someone who would have been focused on supporting me, not on how we could benefit financially. You're not that person. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was who you are when you think nobody's judging you. My dad saw it. My family saw it. I finally see it too. So that's it? 2 years? Gone? Yes. Because your dead father manipulated you into leaving me? No. Because you showed me who you are at my father's grave, and I finally believed you. I ended the engagement that day. Claire's mother called me 3 more times. I didn't answer. Claire sent me a series of texts ranging from apologetic to angry to pleading. I blocked her number after the second day. My Aunt Linda said my father would have been proud. Rachel said she'd never liked Claire anyway, but hadn't wanted to say anything. My cousin Mike said he'd overheard Claire at Thanksgiving last year telling someone on the phone that she'd landed a good one when talking about me. All the signs were there. I just hadn't wanted to see them. Final update. It's been 3 months. I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. The grief about my dad comes and goes. Some days are hard. Some days I can think about him and smile instead of cry. The trust pays out monthly like Martin said it would. I'm using it to help Rachel with her student loans, the way Dad would have wanted. Claire got engaged 2 months after we broke up. Some guy she met through work. Apparently, I heard through mutual friends that she'd been talking to him even before Dad died. Not sure if that counts as overlap or not, but it doesn't surprise me either way. Her mother sent me one final message. I hope you're happy. You ruined my daughter's life over money you didn't even need. I didn't respond. But if I had, I would have said, your daughter ruined her own life by showing who she really was at the worst possible moment. I just paid attention. My dad used to say that people show you who they really are under pressure. When things are easy, everyone's a saint. It's when life gets hard that you see someone's true character. He was right about that. Same as he was right about Claire. Sometimes I wonder if I should have ignored what she said at the funeral. If I should have chalked it up to nervousness or awkwardness or poor timing. But then I remember my aunt's face when she heard it. My sister's disgust. The way every single person at that burial looked at Claire like she'd said something unforgivable because she had. You don't ask about money at someone's grave. You don't calculate financial benefit while dirt is still being thrown on a casket. You don't whisper about pension payments when your partner is crying over their father's death. Unless that's who you really are. Unless that's what you really care about. My dad saw it. He tried to warn me in his own way. And when I finally started listening, he made sure I'd be protected, whether I figured it out before or after he died. The trust wasn't about the money. It was about the test. And Claire failed it spectacularly. I buried my father on a Tuesday. By Friday, I'd lost my fiancée too, but I gained something more valuable, clarity about who she really was, and gratitude that I found out before saying, I do. The pension money sits in that trust, untouchable, protected just like my dad wanted, just like he knew I'd need it to be. Edit. For people asking if the trust was legal or if Claire could have fought it, yes, it's legal. My dad's pension was his to designate as he wished. The trust structure was standard for survivor benefits. Claire had no claim to it, fiancé or not. Edit 2. Some people think I was harsh for ending things over one comment. It wasn't one comment. It was a pattern of behavior that culminated in that comment. The funeral was just the moment when I couldn't pretend anymore. Edit 3. Yes, my dad really did know. Dying gave him clarity about a lot of things, including the fact that the woman I was planning to marry cared more about security than about me. He just made sure I'd figure it out eventually, one way or another.